This is the Mirage from Crazy Tube Circuits, and I've been playing it for the past week, trying to get my head around it, and instead I've just been making soundscapes and fun reverb pieces. It's a double reverb pedal with two identical reverb engines, so you just need to look at that and you know what's going on both sides. You just double it. You can run it in, stereo out, or mono in, stereo out, or mono in, mono out. I'm not sure if you can run it in stereo in, mono out. You've got 16 reverb algorithms on this side and a further 16 here. Remember, they're the same. You've also got an effects loop, so you can put a pedal in between the two reverbs, and there's a socket there to put an expression pedal in. To say that there's a lot going on in this pedal is a huge understatement, and as a guitar player, I've had a huge amount of fun with it. As a guitar player that creates YouTube videos, it's a bit of a nightmare, because there's no way I can bring you all of this pedal in one video. So I'm going to choose my favorite sounds, or some of my favorite sounds, and my most creative stuff. So let's have a run through the little switches and knobs. We're in stereo, remember, and on the left side I've got Spring, and on the right side I've got Springy. I've got it set up so I can turn off that one reverb on the right hand side. So now we've just got the left side. So now we're wet and dry, and now we'll switch those sides, Springier this time. And that's huge. The thing about doing reverb pedal videos is I have to wait until it stops echoing or reverbing or whatever it does. I had to print out the manual they sent because there's so much going on that I can't remember what these reverbs are called. And not only that, but the knobs do different things on different reverb settings, different reverb algorithms. Let's put this on there so I can just focus on there rather than get confused by how much is going on. Here we have a volume knob. In the middle is unity gain, so that's doing nothing. That's going to drop the volume, and that's going to give you a clean boost. Over here is the mix. That's a drier. That's a wetter. In the middle is somewhere in the middle. Then in the middle of the pedal, we've got this switchy knob, a clicky one. Click, click, click. And that is selecting your different reverb algorithm. And then that selects the bank. So if it's out, you've got the white bank. And if it's in, you've got the blue bank. Then down here, we've got two knobs that change function depending on what you're doing with this. And then that does something else entirely. It's to do with the expression pedal, which I may or may not go over. It comes with the manual. I just want to make some fun sounds with it. I didn't quite tell the truth about the sides being identical because I forgot about this switch here. If you push it in, it's set to R1XF, which means that the right foot switch controls the swell or the excite knob for R1, and then the left foot switch bypasses or engages both reverbs simultaneously. If you push that out and is in outie mode, you've got right foot switch engages this reverb and left foot switch engages this reverb. And that's how I'm going to use it in this video because, again, it's powerful, which is a synonym for complicated sometimes. So let's play some more music. The reason we picked up guitar. I'm going to run through my next favorite setting once I find it. Because I'm running in stereo and the reverbs are independent at the moment, I can turn one off. So let's turn the shimmer off. It's a nice, beautiful reverb. Let's turn the shimmer one on. thing about reverb videos is I have to wait for the tail to end. Now, it was a time when shimmer was all the rage. Do you remember that? It was good times. I love shimmer reverb, it's just sometimes overused, as is spring reverb. I love spring reverb. There is an infinite mode, so if I crank these up on everything, I can just walk away and not have to do a single thing. Mix all the way up. Right, let's go for this. So you can also use it to accompany yourself. Lay down a couple of layers if you want, or one layer, I guess. Yeah, beautiful. However, I want to run it in mono because I want to put something in the effects loop. To do that, I'm going to flip it over and show you the inside. And you've got a couple of micro switches, dip switches, internal switches. All I have to do is switch from MISO, which is mono in, stereo out, to SOS, which is the other one. I am 100% not touching the other dip switches in this because I don't want to add a further layer of complication. You can, well, basically you can have tails on or true bypass. You can also kill the dry completely if you wish, and that's for each side independently. Right, turn it back over. Creativity comes at a price, right? With great creativity comes power? No, with great power comes creativity and complications. Yes, right. Get on there. I'm now going to switch off the JC40 and go to my trusty Fender Deluxe Reverb, which I know has reverb in it, but we're testing this reverb. So let's clarify what I've done. I've gone mono into the pedal, mono out of the pedal, into the Fender Deluxe Reverb. However, in between the two reverbs is the effects loop, and in that effects loop is the op amp Big Muff Pi. And I've been putting off doing this since I got the pedal, and I can't wait to see what happens when you put a fuzz in between two reverbs like this. We'll start off slow. I'm also going to switch guitars. Now that's both reverbs on at the same time, one stacked into the other. So here's just one. Here's back to two, but I'm going to put the Big Muff in between. That's a lot of fun. I'm struggling to find out a way to be creative. No, not. I can be creative with it. I don't know if I can be creative in a way that you want to listen to. I can have fun as a guitar player and sit here and noodle around, and really, I'm really not, well, lose track of time, I guess. But musically, that's on me. And on maybe the choice of the op amp Big Muff Pi. Let's try something else. Let's just put on one reverb at a time and see what we're going for. Maybe that's the key. And the other one. And then let's switch that out. And is that going... Now I'm getting somewhere. Now we're going into sort of shoegaze territory, and it's becoming controllable. I think adding everything on at the same time makes it too chaotic, which I like. Again, I'm just not sure if it's fun for you. I should just make it for myself. It would be an hour long then, easily, and the rest. That's a nice switch. What if we do the other one? In fact, let's set them the same and figure that out. We'll have Big Muff on, and then I'll put this reverb on, then turn that off and put this one on. Can you hear the difference? That's the test if you're listening on a phone or not. You either, when you're feeding the reverb into the muff, you get fuzzed reverb. And then when you feed the muff into the reverb, you get reverb fuzz. If you do both, you get this. Are you still there? Like and subscribe? Maybe? There's a lot going on here. I'm just going to run through the same riff through every reverb just so you get to hear everything, and we'll put those things in the middle like that. I'm only going to use this side just here, so we're not going to run one into the other. So that's going to be off the entire time. I've changed my mind. We're going to put the mix all the way up. There. Right. Something musical. Okay, Mirage, I feel like I've almost tamed you, but not quite. And that is really my only issue with the pedal. So to summarize my experience with the Mirage, at the price, which is not budget, but not Strymon and Meris sort of territory, I think it's doing everything a Reverb possibly could without having menus and sub-menus and things like that. And I, for one, love not having menus. I wish that there was a little bit more explanation on what the pedal does on the pedal, because I've printed out the sheets for what they are, and I don't like having to memorize things just to know what to do with a pedal. Of course, I will memorize things and I'll find my favorite, but it's important with this pedal because you also don't have presets and you don't have MIDI either. If you did have presets and you did have MIDI, that would obviously push the price up, which we don't want because we don't like expensive things at the moment. However, I see the Mirage not necessarily as a meat and potatoes reverb. Like, if you want a spring reverb, go and buy a spring reverb. Maybe get the White Whale from Crazy Tube Circuits. It's absolutely phenomenal. Get a cheap Electro Harmonics if you want. Get whatever you want. But Mirage is a creation station, a basis for making sounds and messing around, I think. Yes, it can do the meat and potatoes thing. It can get you all the sounds you'd need from a reverb from a gig. It'll get you your Springy reverb, your hall, your whatever. It'll get you your shimmer, if you like to do that. But it'll also get you in a zone where you can just, I was going to say waste time then, where you can zone out and just have your own special time. Which, as a father of two, I can appreciate nothing more than the ability to find something that sometimes takes me away from that, if you know what I mean. I love the Crazy Tube Circuits form factor. I'm not convinced by having this in here yet. Maybe I've chosen the wrong pedal. Maybe I should have put a delay in there and messed around with that. Maybe I'll come back and do that in the future. But I've been playing this pedal for about the past week, and it's been in other videos I've made. You just haven't seen it. And it's never let me down. So I love the quality of Crazy Tube Circuits, and the reverb algorithms in this are really fun and reliable. There is a drip to the spring reverb. Let me just prove that. Hang on. We got to go there. See, I'm proving my point again about not knowing. I'm also not looking directly at the pedal because you'll see my airflow. There. So I'm on Springy here. What have I done there? Ah, sorry, I was on the blue bank. It sounds that springy, it sounds a lot like the deluxe reverb, but it doesn't quite. How can I be fair here? It's got lots of reverbs in it. It does not excel at the springy drippiness. If you're not aiming for that, then this is going to be fine. If you want something with springy drippiness, get the White Whale or get an amp with a reverb spring in it, such as that one. In fact, let's just turn that on for a moment and turn that off. I take it back. It does a lot better than I thought it did when compared to a real spring reverb. Can I hear that it's digital, or is it just because I know it is? Oh, it's a bit more oil tanky, the Mirage. I've switched to Springy. I'd like to think that I could tell that's not a spring reverb, but I've heard so much reverb now that my brain and my ears are confused. So I need to round this up. Okay, if you're after something that has lots of reverbs in it, is extremely creative, and you have a bit of cash, the Mirage is a great choice. But if you're looking for something dedicated to spring reverb or something like that, then this might please you, it might not. It certainly surprised me. I think the Crazy Tube Circuits are onto something here. For me, the biggest downside is how complicated it is and how hard it is to go through something logically. which could be down to me. However, if you're just into making noises and getting some reverb on stuff, flip through it blindly and you'll find something you like. A big thank you to Crazy Tube Circuits and Face for sending this out for review. Please comment down below what you think. I'm going to go and make some great sounds with this at some point. There's that Krung Bin band that I've got into recently. I'm going to try and make some desert surfy rock and with a bit of funk. It's going to have this guitar in it. If you want one of these, links are in the video description. Click subscribe and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye!